who are you guys?
So I'm Sachin. I'm one of the co-founders of Posterous.com.
Yeah.
I'm Garry.
Founder of Posterous.
Co-founder of Posterous also.
So let's get that out of the way. How do you say Posterous?
We like to say Posterous as in preposterous.
Okay.
Originally the tagline was going to be the preposterously easy way to post. But we figured that was a little redundant.
So when I started blogging, there wasn't really that many ways to publish, right? You didn't have that many choices. Now we have so many. Why are you guys jumping in and trying to come out with yet another way to publish? What is driving you guys to do that?
I think the difference is that drove us to build this was a focus on rich media and a focus on mobile. And those are the two things that were lacking in first-generation blogging platforms that are out there. So they were designed for long text posts. People were sitting down, writing out their thoughts. And most people don't want to do this, and that's why they dread blogging. Oh, I started a blog, but I don't update it enough. But what happened now is that people just want to share their photos, and they want to share their video, and they want to do it while they're on the go on their iPhones. Yeah. And so we just focus on that. So we focus on posting by email, which everyone understands, and you have it on your phone, and you just post everything to Posterous.
Yeah, that's the first time I saw you guys on the web. Was Mike Arrington was posting pictures of his dog and emailing them in, and they would show up, and he would put them on his Twitter account, right? So tell me a little bit about your company, because this is obviously a very early stage company. Some of the companies we visit, like Facebook, have 1,000 employees.
Absolutely.
You guys have, what, four employees?
We're four full-time engineers, and we're all engineers, and we all code it. We started about, I guess, a year and a half ago. We got into the Y Combinator summer of '08 program out in Cambridge. And for those who aren't familiar with Y Combinator, it's sort of a pre-seed incubator started by Paul Graham, the guy who created Yahoo Stores. Yeah. And you know, they've funded other startups like Scribd and Justin TV and Reddit and just tons of names that everyone has heard of. And so we were just thrilled to be a part of it. And you know, when you heard about us through TechCrunch and Mike Arrington, we actually had only been in that program for about 3 weeks.
Wow.
So we were the first people to launch out of our batch, and that was actually really, really cool.
Very cool.
And what we did was just post by email, so we didn't actually even do half, or, you know, 3/4 of the things we do now. So.
Wow. Well, it seems preposterous to say, to use your name, to take on like Blogger.com and WordPress and Facebook and Twitter, you know, because these are all ways to publish your ideas and your pictures and your photos. Where do you guys wake up this morning and go, we're going to take on the publishing world and make something new that everybody, and you guys are growing crazy fast right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, we think that there's a lot of room in the web publishing space. You know, we always say that there's 2 billion email addresses out there. And you know, you don't have to think of it that every one of these people needs to create a blog, but every one of these people does want to share photos, and they do want to share things with their friends and family, and we're going to enable that. And so we want to get new people publishing that have never before.
Yeah, I mean, there are only 200 million blogs out there. There's the biggest social network in the world. Facebook has only 300 million users, which is insane and huge, but there's, you know, about 1.5 billion, maybe 1.7 billion people who are totally underserved. And that's not because the software that exists today is, you know, it doesn't do what they want. If anything, it does too much. It's too complex. It's, you know, earlier we were talking about Google Wave, and Google Wave is too much. And so one reason why we knew we could do this was we want to bring all of this really awesome technology that you see about and read about and use every day, and bring it to the other 1.8 billion people.
Yeah. What is it about the simplicity? I think 37 Signals talks about this a lot, simplicity. And Twitter took off, right? Very simple. And your service seems that same way. It's like, it's a joy to use because it's simple. It doesn't have a lot of woo-hoo widgets all over the place and, you know, lots of features.
I think there's also like a difference between simple and clean. Yeah. So we have all the features you would expect from a full-fledged blogging platform, but we've designed it in a way that's a lot cleaner than what our competitors do. And so I think that goes
Well,
along
you
the
don't
lines.
have all the features, right? Right now, you don't allow JavaScript, and you don't have discuss comments and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Sure. So we
I mean,
you know,
can
we've
really
also
do weird things with WordPress that you can't do with
Absolutely.
Postgres.
Right. So we see ourselves like an iPhone, right? So you have this device. An
Yeah, that's
iPhone
great.
has packed so much functionality into this small device. And there's definitely a few things that are missing. And there are definitely people who are saying, I wish the iPhone could do this. I wish it could do background tasks, whatever. And some of that is, actively they decided not to implement it, or things that are coming. And we have more features that are rolling out every day. But at the end of the day, what we're trying to build is this device that packs all this power into there, but my mom and my dad can use it right out of the box.
Yeah, iPhone's great because if you think about it, what was the first version of the iPhone? It had a phone, it had a web browser, it had email, but it didn't have apps, and it didn't do half the things you wanted. But they kept revving it. That was actually a revolution for smartphones, because before you bought a smartphone and a new version came out and you had to buy a new one, and this was a conscious decision made by the people who made mobile phones.
Yeah.
And Apple said, no, we're going to release something that is very simple, that does not everything that you possibly want, but it does a few things really, really well, and then we're going to build on that. And we love that philosophy at Posterous.
Yeah. The other thing that comes across is your company in the outside world looks a lot bigger than it is, right? It looks a lot more like
Thanks a lot.
You're taking on Twitter, which has 100 employees now, and Facebook has 1,000 employees, and you guys have a brand and an image and a look that looks like it competes with those things, right? So who's the secret graphic designer?
I guess it's me.
It's you?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Because the attention to detail on logos and themes is very, very clean.
Thanks very much.
Nice.
Yeah, one thing Gary believes in passionately is leaving stuff out, right, and keeping it clean. And you have to make that's the harder decision to do, is what do I remove as opposed to what do I add, because it's easy to just add everything.
Yeah. So what's nice? So when I asked last night, what should I ask? I asked my users, what should I ask? They're all like, "Oh, I'm so jealous. You're coming to Posterous. I love." And so you already have a lot of fans, which is great.
That's
for
awesome.
A startup. But they're asking things like JavaScript.
Yeah.
When are we going to be able to do some weirder stuff with our pages?
Soon. Very soon.
Okay.
It's totally on our roadmap. It's one of those things where, like with the iPhone, when it first came out, it didn't have an app. You couldn't write your own apps. And so that's kind of one of the things we're trying to add for basically the next couple of months. We recently, actually, maybe 2 months ago, we released theming. And so that was something that we kind of sat on for a while and just really made sure it was right before it went out. And so, because once it's out, you can't change it anymore.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we release things that are completely tested, that work great, that do the things that people need before we throw them out there.
Yeah.
And make sure people can't mess up their own sites.
Yeah,
so trying to
that's
make sure
big.
that once you allow them to theme it or add JavaScript, that they're not going to go and just destroy what
Yeah.
their page looks like and how it works.
The other question was comments. Right now, Posterous is a single thread comment, right? So you don't have any threading, and people on other blog platforms that are using Discuss or Echo are used to now to the threaded model.
Absolutely.
Are you guys going to change commenting, or is there a reason that you want to stay with the non-threaded comments?
I don't think there's any specific reason. So I can definitely imagine threaded comments coming. There is an active decision to do our own built-in commenting. We do think that should be an integrated part of the blog as opposed to a third-party service. And we do a lot of smart things there, like we do email commenting. So if somebody comments on your site, you get it by email, and then you can just reply to that email to add another comment, and it just builds this conversation right around there.
Right. And the third question was around mobile. When's a new iPhone app coming that has more features and lets you do more?
Yeah, there's an iPhone app, new version that was submitted to the store last week, so hopefully it'll be out soon. As soon as Apple.
Any day then.
Any day, and yeah, basically.
The average wait time is what, 2 to 3 weeks right now?
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
So by the time this video gets up, it should be in the store?
Yeah, it should be there. Yeah, totally.
And what does the new app do?
So our iPhone app is basically, it's a really easy photo and video uploader, and the idea is to be able to post photos live as you take them, as opposed to right now the common workflow is sort of you go to dinner or you go to a party, you take all these photos, and then when you're done, you have to wait till you're done with that event to now go and upload or go and post. And there is this conscious thing you have to do. The idea with our app is you take photos, and as you take each photo, they're just getting uploaded live. And so, you sort of take all these photos at an event, you go home, you're done, your photos are already there. And people could be watching them get posted live, or they just see them at the end, but at least you don't have to do all this work at the end to post them.
Yeah, and then the last question was from the people, and it gets to my need for curation, but I'll try to put it more in the community. There's this world going by, right? Tweets go by, YouTube videos go by, Flickr photos go by, blog posts go by, and all this stuff is going by. And we want to put that with less friction onto a place that we can show our friends, which is Posterous, right? So what are you going to do to make the publishing process have less friction for that world?
I think part of it is, we have a bookmarklet right now. It lets you grab things, snippets of text or media or photos from a page right now. And what you're kind of asking for in terms of curation is kind of like being a super bookmarklet that kind of works across all different sites, and you can kind of add to posts as you go. And maybe you have 4 different ideas that you're working on, and you can kind of be in your browser, surfing the web and looking at news articles or videos and different things like that, and then pull things out and then come back to Posterous and write your long form post that's very rich. And so that, that's absolutely a next step for Posterous in terms of, well, we have short form down, we have rich media down, we have mobile down. Let's tackle deeper composition.
The other part of that question is real time, right? Because if there's a sports event, or like we were watching the U2 concert, thousands of millions of people were watching it all live at one time, and we all wanted to say stuff about it, right?
Yeah.
And we were doing that on Twitter or Facebook or on FriendFeed. What's your vision of how the real-time web is going to evolve into Posterous?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple different ways that we look at that. First, it's just through our auto post service. So not, looking at it from just different standpoints. So when you post to us, we update your Twitter, your Facebook, all the other social networks that we use, and that's going to help you reach your communities faster. And so you want to drive people to your blog, and we're gonna push it to Twitter like instantly, and people are going to see it that way.
Yeah, I know you guys said you have a lot of real estate agents who are using it, but tell me some stories about how you see normal everyday businesses outside of the geeky, Twitter sphere using it.
Well, I mean, we've definitely seen a lot of small businesses use us, and real estate agents, like you said. I think it really works well for these people because, like, one is they're not very technically savvy, so they don't understand how to use all these different social media sites like Twitter and Facebook and all that. 2, it's a lot of work to maintain a presence on all these different services, and they want to do rich media, and so all they need to do is email, and then they let us maintain basically their Twitter and their Facebook page, and just let us post to all of them.
What percentage of your customers use just email to publish?
It's pretty high.
It's like probably over 70%, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So a good majority. And I mean, email is just great to get people to start doing this because we send 20, 50, 100 emails a day. Anyone who's professional, who spends even an hour in front of a computer a day, uses email. Yeah. And so it's the naturalest possible thing that so many of us can use to post. And if you contrast that to, even using Flickr or another service, you have to log in, you have to figure out, well, where do I click again? How does it work? For people who aren't, Robert Scoble or like us who spend time all the time writing this stuff, it's actually very difficult to remember. I have to write it down. Or my mom has little flashcards that she writes down that says, okay, go to this site and then do this, and then, those are people who have a need. They have a tech need to be able to connect with their customers, their clients, or just even their families. And if it's by email, then they don't have to remember anything, and they're that much more likely to use it.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about your business. How is it? What's the infrastructure here? And how does that help you build a very small business that's growing like weeds, crazy fast?
Well, when we started a year and a half ago, we started on SliceHost. part of the Rackspace cloud, and so we've been using Rackspace for our entire infrastructure.
Very cool.
And it's been really phenomenal. We get a lot of support from them. We just had a phone call with them earlier today, helping us sort of like scale up our database. And being on the cloud just let us add boxes and accommodate the growth that we need.
Yeah, like the fanatical support thing, it's totally true. And we started.
Tell me about what.
So the really geeky thing for the geeks in the audience right now, we actually launched on TechCrunch, and our server was on fire, and it was a 1 gigabyte slice that cost like $80 a month on SliceHost. And that was how we started. And from there, whenever we needed more capacity, we just said, hey, give us a new server, and then it was provisioned and it was there. Right. And so from one slice, I think we probably have maybe 20 or 30 slices now. And that, SliceHost and Rackspace has just kind of been there at every step of the way.
How are you going to make money with this thing?
Oh, yeah, I mean, still looking at a few different options, but one of the common ones would be to do a premium version of Posterous. So there's some very specific features that only the commercial users want, or the really, really high-end pro users.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, like the JavaScript support, being able to put ads on the site, things like that. It's not immediate. Right now, I think we have a million features that we're really excited to work on.
We've got 4 desks in this office, so there are plenty of things to do.
Very cool.
Yep.
Well, thanks so much.
Thank you.